AI, AI, AI. You know, everybody's talking about AI, how cool the tools are, ChatGPT, and how amazing they are. Or they talk about how they're not working. Or even worse, they talk about how they are going to doom us all. But what does it mean for us as software engineers? What does it mean for our future? And this is what we are going to talk today a little bit about it. It's the dawn of the age of the AI, and the future of software engineering is changing rapidly. While some fear that AI will eliminate the need for software engineers, the reality is much more complex. In this video, we'll explore what it means to be a software engineer in the age of AI, what's required from us, and what kind of jobs will be replaced. The future is going to change. It doesn't matter if we want it or not, we need to get ready. So where are we right now? AI tools like ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, Amazon Code Whisperer, and Codex are already in use, changing the landscape of software engineering. Repetitive manual labor or basic decision making will be replaced by AI. HTML slicing and dicing, anyone? I would bet that within 12 months' time, there is going to be a really, really good AI which can take Photoshop files and create proper responsive designs out of it. Or WordPress plugins. Set up and create a new WordPress site. Nah, this will be automated. There's no reason a human being should do that. Cleaning up code, refactor and polish, adding unit tests, create project templates, document and help designing APIs. All this is already possible today. And all these examples are already automated. So how do we need to change? Or do we need to change at all? AI is going to become more and more sophisticated. We are waiting for ChatGPT 4, where we all expect it's going to be even better. Certain types of jobs will be replaced by automation. For example, tasks that involve repetitive manual labor or basic decision making will be automated. And wow, oh boy, we have a lot of these. So yes, some of you must change if you want to be able to work as a software engineer in the future. But how do we need to change? To stay relevant in the future of software engineering, we must develop a product mindset, understand the tools, and be able to create good prompts that leverage AI. Don't see the AI as the enemy. We can use it, it's just a tool. We need to validate the output of AI, apply critical thinking, and focus on the big picture, understanding the what and why. Additionally, we must hone our soft skills such as communication, collaboration, and adaptability, and for sure language if you're not an English native speaker. So who am I that I can talk about all this? I have worked over the last 30 years all around the globe, as a developer and later as a CTO for decades. I experienced working with high-profile MIT and Harvard grads in the US. I used to work all around Europe with different nationalities, developed side by side with Eastern Europeans for decades, have worked on-site in India for half a year, and the last 10 years I focused on Southeast Asia countries. And my latest business endeavor is going into Egypt to get first-hand experience with developers from Africa. All these amazing human beings I've met over the last decades have different work styles and cultures. In the US, we see a lot more emphasis on business mindset, understanding the why and what, and creating solutions over code. Alas, I must say that from a pure engineering point of view, there are much better coders in other countries. In Eastern Europe, we typically find more really good hardcore engineers, but often they lack the business mindset. And going forward to India and Asia, it's a mixture of extremely talented people with an amazing business mindset and then A huge amount of developers rather used to do what they are being told to. And here is the problem. All of these countries have a certain percentage of engineers who like to solve simple problems. Set up a new online shop as a digital nomad, create some Twig templates, tune WordPress, implement simple solutions. But these developers are not used to utilizing a business mindset. They get a task and they fulfill this task, getting positive feedback of successfully implementing what they are asked for. But they don't ask why and what and how it could be done better. And that's actually going to be a problem in a world with AI. I just told you that I worked in this industry for many decades, which is actually just a fancy way of saying I am old. When I was young, I fell in love with the Commodore 64. I was a nerd, an outlier, a weirdo. I was definitely not cool. All the hot girls were absolutely not interested in me, which was fine as my first and big love spoke BASIC and assembler, and I was happy with that. But back then, everyone knew that if you wanted to earn big bucks, you became a lawyer, a dentist, or studied business administration. But computer science? No way. Which led to all the computer nerds around me being amazing human beings, following their passion, their heart, but not the money. We had fun coding in the nights and on the weekends, trying new technology, playing around and seeing how far we could get. Years ago, I struggled to understand my employees. Well, I offered free training, I offered free certifications, and some got back to me asking why should they do this if they would get a salary increase. We discussed into looking into new and exciting technology like Flutter back then, and they asked me if they would learn it, would they get some extra money? Not considering that it would be fun to look into this into their free time. Why? Well, simply because being an engineer is nowadays just a job, a well-paid job, quite like my fellow lawyers and dentists back in the days. Everyone knows that being an engineer pays well, and you might even be able to get an amazing work-life balance working remote from some beach in Bali while being paid the big bucks. But for these engineers, there's no passion anymore left. When I realized this years ago, it did hurt. Even now, after so many years, I love technology. It amazes me. And I love to play with new tech, staying up to date, understanding and diving into exciting new stuff. But if there is no passion, if this is only a job, then I can understand that for these engineers, this doesn't make sense. And that is okay. Well, it was okay until now. I just said in the beginning that this is the dawn of the age of AI. If we need someone to just code some stuff, show no passion, no business mindset, and just get the job done, we can turn to AI, as this is exactly what they do and where they are good in. Being an engineer in the future with AI will require a combination of technical knowledge, creativity, and adaptability. Engineers will need to stay up to date with the latest developments in AI and being willing to adapt their skills and knowledge to meet the changing demands of the field. Simply said, you need to grow and learn all the time. In short, as an engineer, you need to understand the what and why. Only then you can use your brain to come up with better suggestions. You will need to understand all the new technology, as the code the AI produces probably will have errors. To be an engineer in future, you need the ability to leverage the tooling efficiently, to chain AIs. Use not only one, but many, and not only AI, but many tools, To leverage all these different tools, you need to validate the results of the AI, and you need to use critical thinking. Most importantly, soft skills. They are more and more important than ever. As AI continues to automate many routine tasks, the ability to work effectively in cross-functional teams and communicate efficient with stakeholders will become even more important. Being able to adapt to new tools and technologies, manage multiple priorities, and apply critical thinking are also essential skills. I mean, think about it. You have a remote cross-country team, you have people from different cultures, from different languages, from different areas, and you need to communicate. So you will not be able to remain just a coder. You can't survive without understanding the context and without being in close contact with the product owner. That's important, and this is how we need to change. So let's get real. Let me give you a few examples of what is currently happening outside of engineering. I want to emphasize how quick and brutal these changes can be. There are services where content can be created. Do you need someone to write you a few pages on a specific topic? Just create a task on services like text brokers and others. Some search engine optimization, text, product descriptions in e-commerce, whatever you wanted, there has been a large crowd of digital workers who take this task and work on them for a few dollars. If you look into these services today, they're very, very, very empty. With the release of ChatGPT, all this content can be created for free. A whole industry was wiped out in less than a week. Well, it's not really fair, because still the content the AI can create is limited, and if you have really good content creators, they will always have work. But again, a whole industry gone overnight. Or another example, there are companies that take your sketches and create beautiful PowerPoint presentations out of it. Do we need these companies anymore? Some, and some not. But let's deep dive into this one. Let's say I do have an assistant who works for me and helps me to create such PowerPoints in my daily life. If I want to create a good PowerPoint with the usage of AI, I need to provide the AI with a meaningful prompt. So I need to sit down and think about what exactly do I want, how many pages, what is on each page, what are the core messages I want to convey. Then the AI is capable of providing me with a decent template which I can fine-tune. But my really good human assistant knows me very well. I have worked with her for many years, and I can just tell her, can you please create me a PowerPoint on this topic? You know what we want to achieve, yes? And that's it. And she will get me the same quality or better than the AI. So I save a lot of time and brain power as I'm not required to create the prompt myself. She's doing that for me, which makes her so valuable. And AI can't provide this as the AI doesn't know me. This is the difference between a human being and an AI, understanding the broader context, learning and growing, understanding the what and why. Okay, now let's go back to the engineer of the future. You need to develop a product mindset, understand the tools and being able to create good prompts. Like, it's quite like coding in a way, yeah? Validate the output of an AI. Be less of an author and more of a reviewer. Apply critical thinking. Does it make sense what I get here? Can it be? And understand the big picture, understand the goals, the what and why. Think about it, the AI creates small functions very well, but the AI lacks understanding of how all these small functions work together and what they should achieve. This might change in the future though, but as of now, this is one of the biggest weaknesses. And last but not least, you must understand the legal ramifications of using an AI. And let's use the last minutes of this video to talk a little bit about the legal implications of using AI as of today, early 2023. If you post your code into an AI prompt, then you do reveal your code to this AI, which might, well, most probably is a breach of any NDA and confidentiality agreement you signed, which we all usually have in our employment contracts or service contracts if you work for a service provider. So creating some new code is okay. Probably, I will talk about that later. But changing this code and posting it to find bugs, add documentation, refactoring it, and so on is most likely not okay and a breach of confidentiality, which might lead to being sued. And this is not anything we want. Unless you get your client or employer to agree in writing that you can use these services. And this is something you should really think about and get. But even with written permission, you must keep data privacy in mind. You're not allowed to reveal any data which would breach privacy laws like GDPR, CCPA, or others. So don't post any personal information into the AI which might violate any of these privacy laws. And do not forget about security. If you do have some security relevant information, tokens, etc. in your source code, then you anyway should probably change your profession. If you still have such information in your source, it certainly must not be posted into any AI. Because we need to trust the AI. But can we? As an engineer, I would say it is safe to say that we can trust GitHub Copilot, as GitHub anyway knows and has all our source code. And we decided in the past that we trust GitHub. Well, if. There are plenty of companies who do not trust GitHub, so don't just use Copilot if you work in such a company without written permission. Do we trust Amazon? Same reasoning. If we host our application on AWS, then most likely, yes, we do. If we work on some fintech code, which must be super secure and hosted in-house, then do not paste your code into any AI prompt without thinking. And do we trust OpenAI? Can we? That's the big question. We are all using ChatGPT, but we don't really know what's going on and how this code is going to be used. Even if it's currently okay, which I assume, you never know who might acquire them in the future and what's going to happen. So, do ask your employer or client for permission to use AI. This is really important. Give them some use cases so that they understand what they gain from this, and only then you can safely use AI as an engineer without being worried about being sued for millions of dollars. Last but not least, the AI learns from examples. There have been concerns about potential copyright issues related to the use of AI-generated code. The argument is that if the AI-generated code is based on copyrighted code, then the new code may also be considered copyrighted and subject to legal action. However, this is still a largely untested legal area, and there's currently no legal precedent in the US or in any other country. While there have been some lawsuits and legal claims made regarding AI-generated code, there has not yet been a definitive ruling on the matter. Some legal experts have suggested that if the AI-generated code is significantly different from the original or copyrighted code, it might not be considered a copyright violation. However, if the code is very similar or nearly identical, it could be considered infringing. And how would you know? Because you get the code from the AI. So let's see what ChatGPT says on the matter. I asked ChatGPT what it thinks about the legal situation. Let me read that for you. Ultimately, the legal implications of using AI for coding will depend on various factors, including the specific circumstances of the case, the laws and regulations in the relevant jurisdiction, and the actions and decisions of the court. It is important for companies and developers to carefully consider the legal and ethical implications of using AI for coding and to take steps to ensure that they are not infringing on any existing copyrights or intellectual property rights. Funny, isn't it? Not really. So ChatGPT simply says, you are responsible. So how can an individual developer evaluate the legal risk in specific circumstances? It's not possible. I believe that we need to wait a bit until there are definite rulings so that we know in which boundaries we are able to work. Until then, we all might be on thin ice legally. Or not. We just don't know yet. Are you ready for a wake-up call? It's time to get moving, to learn, to grow, and to become passionate about the tools in your daily work. And don't forget to start utilizing AI in your daily work. This is the future and it's coming fast. You need to be curious, to open your mind, to ask questions, and to understand the what and why. It's time to develop a product mindset, to understand the tools and how to create good prompts, to validate the output of AI, to apply critical thinking, and to think about the big picture, the goals, and the what and why. But that's not all. You need to understand the legal ramifications of using AI too. And if you do all of this, you will still have a job in 24 months. So let's go and let's take this seriously and let's make a change. It's time to get excited about the future and to start working smarter, not harder. Thank you.